ask you something, Alex, about this. Now, since you are going to play in the role of the coach of Hank in this simulation, I would like to ask you, how would you like to prepare for this conversation wearing the shoes of the coach? And would you like to tell Hank something about what you're going to focus on and what things you would love to check out and discuss afterwards? Does it make sense to you?
It does. And one of the questions you had already asked him right off the bat was one that I would probably ask us too, is why this conversation? You know, because the choice of conversation should directly mirror something you're experiencing now, or that you know is something that you've had to struggle with a little bit. So, you know, humans are very, you know, intentional. So when we pick a conversation, chances are it's one that we either know we're needing a little extra help in, or we just came out of one of those conversations and maybe it didn't sit well with us. So I would definitely ask a couple of the questions. What I do is I make sure I have something to write down on, and I section off my notebook. I section it off into observations so that when I'm watching Hank interact in his conversation, I can write down some observations about his choice making or things that happened, and just sort of looking at him as he's relating to it. I've got a section for questions that I want to ask him. I want to help guide him into helping him elevate some of his own insights and get those out of him and get him sharing them, so the questions can draw those out. And then I also want to keep a sort of a T-chart for some sort of pros and cons of the conversation. What things that I see were there. So I set my notebook up that way so that I'm quickly able to write these things down and let him interact. But what I'm really looking for is I'm looking at you know, at key points in the conversation, really breaking it up into sort of a beginning, a middle, and an end. I really want to see how the conversation flows, which parts are going to give him the greatest return, which ones he might be challenged with. I'm also looking to see if the interaction is not always on what is the answer that's out of the three that's being given to him, which one he selects. Is he also being aware of the nonverbal cues he's receiving from you and me at the same time? So that's an objective as well that I'd be looking for. And from there, we'll kind of go and look at some of the data points.
Right. So my understanding is that you are playing open with no prejudice at the beginning, and for some reasons that you may want to tell me about, the type of conversation or the type of character are not going to influence your pre-analysis.
Correct. Yes.
Right. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. So I can't wait starting. So if you don't